Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. We have plenty of questions for you this week. We're going to jump to them in just a minute. But before we do, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, satisfy those YouTube ninjas by doing the YouTube stuff. Leave a comment down below. That's super important. You have to use the word Kendo, okay? Use the word Kendo. What a great Kendo video. It's the best Kendo video I've ever seen. Best Kendo channel on the internet, something like that. And then we'll get more people to start Kendo, because that's how it works, all right? 674.3 quadrillion people started Kendo since 12 o'clock. And it's now 12:21. So in the next 30 seconds, I think we can double that if you just do that for me. Okay, so just make sure you pop a comment down below using the word Kendo. More importantly, though, if you like the channel, if you like the videos that I put out, whether it is these Q&A style videos, the feedback videos, I've got more feedback videos coming soon. I know some of you have sent some feedback videos in. I will be getting to them next week, all right? So apologies for the delay on that. I've got instructional videos. We've got more of that coming as well. And analysis videos. I have got a fantastic video in the works right now for you all. It is a fantastic video. I think it is one of the favourite videos I've done so far. It's going to be fun, all right? I'll give you a little hint. It's an interview. It's an interview, and it is a great interview. The contents of it are absolutely brilliant, all right? Get to hear me speak in some really ropey Japanese, because I can't read Japanese very well, and I have to read questions off a piece of paper. But it's a great interview, so look out for that. It's coming very, very soon, all right? And there's more on the way. If you like all that stuff, it's all free of charge. We don't charge you a monthly fee. There's no memberships, nothing like that. The great thing, it's a proper win-win, because to support it, all you have to do is shop at KendoStar.com. KendoStar is the best Kendo equipment website in the history and future of the human race. Now, of course, I would say that because I own the place, but everyone agrees with me, all right? We're not some like side business or working out of our garage or parents' bedroom or middleman drop shipping or anything like that. We're an established brand, all right? We've got a full team of staff ready to give you the best products with the best service, all right? You're going to shop with us in the end anyway, I'm pretty sure. So don't buy twice. Buy right first time round and shop at KendoStar.com. Okay, let's get to these questions. First one. This one came to me by email. It says, "Hi Andy, would you share your insight and experience on this issue? For the past year or two, I've really been struggling with the skin on the bottom of my left foot. Feels very slippery on the dojo floor, where I never used to have this problem before. The skin is mostly dead and calloused from a lot of training here, which makes sense. It's a protective layer. I had a professional look at it and remove a lot of the dead skin, and after that session I shortly enjoyed a lot more grip on the dojo floor. However, I'm once again struggling to push off strongly enough for proper fumikomi, as my left foot just slides back during this motion, resulting in a sudden shift in balance, stoppage of forward power, etc. I've tried to correct this by placing my left foot close to my right, but I need to place it almost equal height to feel enough grip for a decent push. Though at that point the push goes mostly up and I lose forward momentum. I also discovered this puts great stress on my left knee, also not good. I now debate either remove all the dead skin and hope that the new skin underneath enjoys more grip, or start to take my foot every practice, as that also seems to help. Downsides I see are removing the protective layer means I'll get blisters. I haven't had those for 12 years. Not looking forward to that. Or spend extra time in the locker room not taking care of an injury but taping my foot, which kind of feels like cheating as well. Am I doing fundamentally wrong footwork, or is this a skin problem? And any thoughts on advice would be greatly appreciated. So I understand this completely, and it's an issue I've definitely experienced. I think it depends on the floor that you're working on as well. It really depends. Some floors are really slippery and some have got a lot of grip, and different people seem to prefer different types. I am a person that likes a lot of grip on the floor. I don't like the slippery type of floor, but there are other people who prefer to have a slippery type of floor. Now, I think it is probably related to how the sort of, the condition of the skin on your feet as well, and probably the type of skin that you have. Now, I'm very prone to dry skin, and the soles of my feet there's a lot of dead skin there from a lot of practice, and it is very, very dry. So I do find it very, very slippery at times. The way to combat this is indeed you could remove the dead skin, which comes with its own issues. As you said, you could tape it up, which you can do, but it takes time, and you've got to spend end up spending loads of money on tape. Another option is if you can find like a good foot cream or moisturizer, that can help, I think. And if you can like take better care of the skin on the soles of your feet, I should do that more, to be honest, but I don't. And another option, of course, is to wet your feet. Lots of dojos in Japan, and we do this at my dojo as well, is they'll have little towels called zokin. These are what they use to clean the floor with, and they'll wet them and place them on the floor in the corner of the dojo or whatever. And then what you'll do is you'll just pop your feet and step on them so that it wets the sole of your feet. You don't want it drenching, just dampens the skin on the sole of your feet, and then you get a bit of grip. And every now and again, just pop over and just re-dampen it. That's a good solution as well. Okay, but yeah, I do know what it's like. Okay, next one. Since I have two questions for you, if I may. Now that we've returned to full training for a few years, I'm just wondering what the general feeling is, both in Japan and abroad, on continuing to use the Kendo mask, half shields inside the men. I understand the official position of the ZNKR FIK is now it's up to individual choice, but I'm more trying to gauge what's the general impression of the Kendoka using them versus no longer using them. Are you noticeably selling fewer of them these days? Is it rarer to see half shields in use at day-to-day keiko? Is the practice continuing as a precautionary measure for the most part? Your thoughts and those of the early access group will be welcomed. 2, exactly why can't you just go on the base of a Facebook comment? Melbourne, Mr. Shugyo and Mojitos. I mean, we have a number of clubs for keiko and somewhat Kendo-related cocktail bar of some repute. Okay, just saying. Don't worry, I promise I'll stop now and I'll see myself out. Cheers, today's master. I'd love to go to Melbourne. I would. Someone needs to give me the opportunity. Right. So, the masks. First off, yeah, I'd say probably sales of those have slowed down because they're not as sort of compulsory as they were. We still sell them though. In Japan, I'm pretty sure the official stance of the ZNKR is that the shield is still required and the cloth mask is optional. I think. At gradings, they ask you to wear one or the other. I seem to remember that was in the rules. When I was there, and I guess it's going to really depend on the area that you're in, but I'm pretty sure that well, where most of the places I've been practicing at, pretty much everybody is wearing the half shield. I haven't seen many people wearing the actual mask anymore, but most people still wear the half shield. And I think that might stay because I don't think it's particularly invasive. I still wear the half shield, to be honest. I don't mind wearing it. I don't think it's invasive. It's not like I don't like having the cloth mask over my mouth. I've done that before. I didn't like that. But the shield, especially the tinted ones, they look kind of cool as well. So I use them pretty much all the time. I always use them actually. I don't think I've stopped using them. I do think I think if nothing else, I think it's a bit more hygienic, So yeah. So that's where I think the situation is with the masks. I think in other countries it's different. I think here in the UK there's not so many people wearing them as much as there was before. But yeah, I like to keep using it because, like I say, I think the tinted one looks kind of cool, and I do think it's more hygienic. It is more hygienic, right? I'm not spitting out on people and stuff like that. And kind of thinking back to like not using it, I feel it's a bit gross, but but that's just my opinion. Okay. Okay, next one. Hi Andy Sensei, quick question today. How would you describe the correct zanshin after tsuki? Watching many tsuki on YouTube and I can't find a clear pattern. Just to be clear, I'm not asking about the strike itself, but right after it. Thanks in advance. Okay, so it depends on what happens, but for me, if it's Morote tsuki, so the two-handed tsuki, I would ski this way, and then retreat, and I'll go backwards. Ski this way, and then go backwards is generally what I would do, just to get out of a retaliation range. Katate tsuki, probably a similar sort of thing as well. The only time it might be different is if like you do the tsuki and then they kind of go backwards. You might not have to withdraw as much, but generally so then move back a bit. It's good practice not to bash the kensen on the floor if you can help it. Sometimes it gets caught and stuff, like especially against a Jordan person. You do the katate tsuki, they might drop their hands onto it, so you might have to pull it out. But you have to be, you know, it's not great to, it's a habit, and I am guilty of it myself. I'm not gonna lie, I've done it myself. You know, you get in the zone and your emotions are all up here, bam, and you kind of, you know, get a bit, you know, lose control of yourself a little bit. But it's better not to bash the kensen on the ground if you can help it. Okay. Next one. I'm currently running low on questions which I feel aren't obviously answered with practice. So if I may ask you, what do you wish someone had told you when you were second or third dan? And thank you, and keep up the invaluable work you do for us, Fishy Sensei. So I think there was a lot of stuff that I was like about halfway into third dan. Was when I met my wife, Miyuki, and she was like this big hammer that just came and went BAM! And shut me down on loads of stuff that I thought I knew and I didn't. And I'm super grateful for it. And that's why whenever lots of people, sometimes I get asked on the show, for example, who's the most influential teacher, and it's without question, it's Miyuki, because she made me reevaluate how I was looking at Kendo, because when I was second, third dan, like I thought I was like super good. I thought I was super good, right? I was like, I'd been in the WKC, I'd been in the European Championships a couple of times. I got a couple of medals in the European Championships. I'd won a few tournaments here in the UK and even in some tournaments in Europe. So I thought I was like, I was made the captain of the British team, and I was like, yeah, I'm so good. I was so bad. And the funny thing is yeah, I like, because I didn't get it. I thought that all I had to do was hit the other person's ball as fast as possible. And I was young, right? And I was, you know, I was reasonably good at doing that for some reason. So I was, especially against other people of a similar level. So, so yeah, I had this sort of inflated ego. So the first thing I'd tell me is what I was told, which is like, what's with the ego, man? You're not that good. Second is like my ash sabaki was a total mess, and should concentrate on making a good ash sabaki, because it was such a pain to try and fix that, which was like around, I didn't start, like I realized it was bad. Like Miyuki was telling me how bad it was, and I was like, yeah. And I was only taking half of what she was saying at first. And then when I moved to Japan, I realized. And I was like, well, into, I guess I was sort of, it took me sort of between Yondan and Godan to start working on it. And then it's not good now. It's not good now. I just wish I'd worked on, I'd paid more attention to it earlier. Let's put it that way. But yeah. It's funny, my mum was cleaning out her old house the other day, having moved, and we found some old DVDs of some of the Shiai I was in when I was like first starting out. That was a painful watch. Let's put it that way. Yeah, look, I wish somebody had told me, and I wish I'd have. The problem is when I was second or third dan, and this is I've talked about this a lot on here. This is the case with a lot of people, especially young people who have some moderate success in, you know, what feels like big events. You can't tell them anything. I couldn't be told anything. Like, I already thought I knew it. So yeah, that's a problem, you know? I don't know. You know, it was a time when I thought that I would be third dan, or even just after I got my fourth dan, whatever, I could practice with some Hachidan sensei, and because I could, like, hit them sometimes, it meant that I was basically as good as them, or I was super good. I just didn't understand what I was talking about at all. My understanding of what is Kendo and what it actually is was so different. Yeah. So yeah, keep your ego in check and work on your asabaki. That's the message. But hi Sensei, hope you and the family are all well. After training for many years and had a break and back to training, I was talking to another Kendoka a while back who asked when I was grading next or taking part in competitions. I explained I hadn't done any more gradings and I wasn't interested. I'm in competitions also. He told me, what's the point? Why bother doing Kendo if you don't know you're improving? Or have the next goal to move on. I chewed on this for many months now. Is he right or am I right? Also, as a sensei, what's your view? Okay, I don't think this is a question where there's a right and wrong answer. I think it really comes down to what Kendo brings to you and what you get out of Kendo. All right. Now, I've said many times on this channel that grading and competition are key pillars in the overall process of long-term improvement in Kendo. And I mean that in the context of people who have particularly who have sort of long-term aspirations of, what can I say, like people who want to achieve grades or want to do well in tournaments, stuff like that. I think it's obviously important for those guys. But it depends. Look, you know, if you're happy doing Kendo and you're enjoying your practice and you don't feel you need the push that you'll get from gradings or competitions, then of course you don't have to, it's not necessary. But it is a fact that gradings and competitions exist to help us improve. And it's not just about, I'll be honest, I don't think it's about whether you know you're improving or whether you have a goal to move on. That's part of it, but I think that it is part of knowing you're improving, I guess, because the feedback you get from gradings, whether you pass or fail them, and the same with Shiai, whether you win or lose them, to some extent does link to your own improvement. But it depends, you know. It's not that it's definitely the case for everybody. So if it's something that you feel like you're not super interested in, then that's cool, right? But all I would say is I haven't seen a case of somebody that's like not interested in grading, which is fine, but then they don't do Kendo. They don't, do Kendo for a long time, and I mean consistently. I'm not talking about breaks and stuff like that, but like, let's say somebody starts Kendo when they're 20, right, and then they never do a grading. I don't believe that in 20 years or 30 years time that person's not going to be doing 6th or 7th dan level Kendo, if I'm honest, because they're not faced with the challenges that you have to push yourself through in order to in order to develop that kind of approach to Kendo. And I'm saying I might be wrong, but I haven't seen an example of it so far. That's all I'm saying. Now, what I am saying is, obviously, I'm saying that as somebody that has gone through that, right? But I wouldn't have been able to get to the point I'm at in my Kendo, and it's not about whether I achieved my grade or not, but I believe that the quality of my Kendo has improved over the years. I'm not as fast as I was 20 years ago. I probably couldn't win as many matches as I could have, let's say, 10 years ago. That's probably when I was at my sort of physical peak in terms of competition. But the quality of my Kendo is better now, even than 10 years ago when I was living in Japan. And that's thanks to the grading process and the challenges within myself that I've had to face in order to walk that road. So I know that's a bit of a in-depth answer, but I don't think it's a case of, well, you're right and you're wrong or anything like that. It's not that, right? If you're happy enjoying doing Kendo, you're happy with where you're at and the way in which you're improving. Doesn't mean you can't improve or you don't know you're improving. Of course you feel if you're improving or not, right? But there's I'm at this point where I just achieved the 7th dan, right? And my Kendo now is totally different from when I achieved the 6th dan. But the day after I passed my 6th dan, or the week after I passed my 6th dan, I had no idea what to do. I just thought I'd do the same thing. And it was through that journey, understanding that I had to meet that set criteria, that allowed me to take that step. And the thing is, I couldn't have just gone from shodan to that step. I had to take all the steps in between. So, and now I'm at a point where it's like, okay, well, the next one's 8, right? I haven't a clue. I don't know. I really don't know. Now is like the beginning of real Kendo is what it feels like. I feel like I'm Ikkyu again or shodan again. But I couldn't just skip to that. You know what I'm saying? So, that's my view. That's my view, all right? I would never push or say anybody has to do any of it, all right? Especially Shiai. Shiai is something, for example, competition now for me, competition is much less important to me than it was 10 years ago. But I'm very conscious that, all right, now I'm at this certain grade. I'm not super young, but I'm not old either. There's plenty of people my age that are still actively competing at extremely high levels, people older than me. So I can't, it's not that I'm too old. It's harder to find opportunity, but my desire to attempt Shiai is not what it was in the past. But at the same time, I'm aware that if I completely withdraw from Shiai entirely, it would have a negative effect on the improvement I want to make on my Kendo. So that's another beast I have to wrestle with myself, because I don't have a lot of opportunity for Shiai so much these days. Last Shiai I did was a year and a half ago. So, and you can see it on YouTube. Did an analysis of it. So yeah, I think that was it. Oh no, okay, all right. So it's not the last. That's the last proper Shiai I did. Did some Shiai practice with my daughter a few weeks ago. That didn't go to plan. Let's put it that way. Did for her. Right. Anyway. Next one. Hi, Sensei. I know we're already a few months in, but what's your favorite Ippon from 2024? I still remember your explanation analysis of the Shitani Sensei's crazy Suriage men from the Tozai Taiko in 2023. That was crazy. That was such a good Ippon. All right. So, best Ippon from 2024. What are my favorite ones? Well, I think it was the semi-final of the All Japan Men's Championships. I liked Takenouchi Yuya's Nidan waza, kote and men. I thought that was a super awesome waza. I thought that Kondo Mihiro Senshi's kote, I think that was the final of the women's championships as well on the same day. That was spectacular. Kote was amazing. And I think that my favorite is Ogata Yuki Sensei's final point from the All Japan Women's 7th Dan Championship. The second point in the final. Though lots of her points throughout the day were just something else. Her use of hikiwaza is just something amazing. The psychological construction of the waza is just something else. That was my favorite tournament of the year. Now, admittedly, I had a vested interest because Yuki Sensei is a personal friend of mine. She's my daughter's teacher as well. So I had that sort of personal interest in it. But she's my daughter's teacher because I've always thought of Yuki Sensei as one of the best kendoka on the planet. So, right. Next one. Hello, Sensei. Question regarding last week's question. Someone asked about visiting dojos in Japan. What's the right way of giving gifts? Is it necessary to give every sensei dojo you visit? I'll be visiting Japan soon and have a few practice sessions lined up. I just want to know the right traditions. Secondly, what's your take on Shiai with people of different heights? Recently I had a Shiai with a guy that's about 2 meters long. Tall, I think. I'm only 1.8. Oh, yeah. It's tough, innit? Just being... but it still feels a bit difficult to hit the perfect men. What about people who's even shorter? Why are you asking me that? Are you trying to make me feel insecure here? Right. Right. So, about giving gifts in Japan. There's a few ways you can do it. Depends on the type of practice. If you're going to a practice with a specific sensei or a specific sensei's leading, you can just get them a bit of something if you want to. I don't think it's always necessarily expected. If you're going to a dojo where you'll know lots of people at the dojo, then and you can, it doesn't have to be something expensive. Like just a small thing from your country is good. I usually get them like tea bags because I'm from England, or like shortbread or something like that. Like if you're in America, that's like a kind of, we call them biscuits, but you guys call them cookies. For us, cookies are a type of biscuit, but I think you guys call all biscuits cookies, and biscuits are something else. That's what I learned when I went to Colorado. Anyway, they're a kind of cookie that's like made from butter, basically. Super bad for your health, but they're actually Scottish. I think it's shortbread's actually Scottish. It's always got like tartan on the packaging, but you know, you can pick it up at the airport. And then tea bags is a good one as well for us. You know, just something like that. And if it's like a group of people at the dojo, then like something that they can share out. Something that share out is a good thing. Like sweets or something, like candies, I think you call them in America as well. Like, and if you can get like a big bag that's got little bags of them in and stuff, like something you can share out is a good thing as well. I wouldn't worry about it too much though. In terms of Shiai with people of different heights, I have a great amount of experience of that. To be honest, it's just a case of hitting men. It's just a case of adjusting the height of your hands, as long as you can still reach the men on top, even if they're super tall. You just raise your hands a little bit, but also get good at hitting kote and do. But it doesn't change massively. All right, it doesn't change massively. Okay, it's just one of those things. You know, I think it's one of the cool things about kendo. You know, being tall like that, it's got to be an advantage. It's got to be. It is an advantage. I'm not having anyone say it's not. Hi Andy Sensei, thanks so much for this channel and taking the time to answer all our questions. No problem. I've been practicing for about 1.5 years and currently Sankyu. And whilst I can feel a slow progress, I'm still getting relatively often the same feedback. Don't be afraid to get hit and don't block. Thing is, I don't feel afraid. My set is very proactive, not mindset, I think. Nor do I purposefully block. I don't even notice I do that. The only thing I notice in Jigeko, how often I crash into my partner whilst going for men. Both Shinai collide midair and none of us actually reach the men. Any tips on how to improve a problem I don't even notice? Thank you in advance. So, it might not be that you're afraid, but obviously whoever's giving that advice gets the impression that you are. So probably you don't necessarily appear proactive. I'm not saying, I can't say without seeing your Kendo, right? But what I'd say is about, it depends who you're practicing with. I'm not a person that like hammers the don't block message. I don't like it so much. But like if you're practicing with a senior or a sensei, you won't benefit from blocking their attacks. All right, you'll benefit more from receiving their strikes. Okay, that's definitely something that's worth remembering. When you practice with a sensei, it's not a game of who can hit the most. I wish, going back to the earlier question, I wish someone had told me that when I was third dan. If your Shinai are like bashing together, it's because just making too big of a swing. All right, try to make the swing smaller, and then yours should be faster and hit sooner. All right. Rather than them colliding midair. Your third cue, mate, it's going to come. Don't worry, it will come. Just keep practicing, keep accepting the advice, keep trying to be proactive, and try to work on the shape of your men strike, and it will come. I guarantee it will come just with practice. All right, I know that's not the answer you potentially want, but it is the way to do it. Okay, last one. Thank you for your answer last time. A technical question this time. I understand that it is hard to explain in a commentary video, but here it goes. Okay, this is going to be fun. I recently started experimenting with tightness levels of my left hand, as in how tightly I'm gripping my Shinai. Maybe it's just in my head, but I felt more comfortable when gripping it tighter rather than a bit loose. I don't mean holding it like a club, of course. Question is, how tight or loose do you tend to hold the Shinai when in Chudan no Kamae with your left hand? Okay, great. So, we get this old busted up Shinai. Right, so, my left hand, all right? Now, ideally, right, I want to have the tsuka here, but I have a bit of a habit where I let it go a bit further down, so it's a bit more comfortable for me, but look, for now, let's keep that as a base. Little finger around the end, then wrap round this way. Not this way, how you would hold a hammer. Not this way, but this way. All right, see how I get more of a dynamic movement on my wrist, and that my wrist is on the inside and they're facing each other so that I can swing the Shinai vertically this way. All right, if I hold from the side that, I can't do that, right? All right, I have to. So I hold the Shinai pretty tight with this part, these two fingers in particular. Then this one, maybe 60%, and then this one just rests around it. Then my right hand rests on the Shinai gently in the same position. And if anything, I've got maybe 20% grip strength in these two again. All right. And then at the moment of impact, I squeeze all of it with my full force for a split second like that. Okay. But I do hold this probably, it's not like 100% of my strength. It's like, if I go like that, and let's say that's 100%, I'm going to release off to, let's say, 70%, all right? And then this is going to be 50%, all right? And these are going to be like 5%. And then this is going to like 10%, these two fingers. And then these are just like 1%, 2%, all right? That's how tightly I grip with my left and right hands, all right? To some extent, you're going to have to find a way that works for you, all right? Because what's important is the moment of impact. That's when these fingers come into action as well. I think they're important too. But that's at the point of the actual snap, all right? If you're talking about in kamae, that is how I would hold the Shinai. And there we go. We're at the end. Thank you very much for joining me today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.